There's a tipping point in every sale. And the better you understand it, the more you're going to recognize it. And the more you recognize it, the more you can, tip the balance to your favor. On one side of the scale, you've got emotion and logic. Emotion is the core factor in every sale, big or small, it doesn't matter. As salespeople, we tend to struggle understanding this because we spend our time focused on features and benefits and all these facts and figures. But it's the emotion that almost always drives it. The stronger the emotion, the higher the desire, and the more likely they are to take action. And it's emotion in most everything. So whether it be something personal like a house or a car, or clothing, furniture, or even in a B2B, where that buyer, that decision maker is concerned about what the outcome is going to be, not just in the logical, is there going to be good ROI on this, but also in the what's the reflection back on them? Is it going to be considered a good decision or a bad decision? There's deeper reasons that people have, often, if not usually subconsciously, of why they will do something. And that's the emotional attachment. The more you can understand about how they're going to use that product or what they expect the outcome to be, and then how it will affect them, how it's going to impact their business or impact their life. The more you understand that, the better your odds of being able to make the sale. Along with emotion is the logic. The logic is where we tend to focus all of our time. In most cases, it's not the most important, but it still is needed. And so the less emotion you have, the more logic, the features, the benefits, the facts and figures, and the price. This is where so many go wrong, is when left without an emotional attachment, without an understanding of what they're trying to accomplish and what that's going to mean to them, whether you have it or they don't have the understanding, you're left with logic. And with logic, you're often in a commodity. I mean, we're all selling commodities. There's very few things today that aren't some form of commodity, meaning you have a competitor that you're up against. And so it becomes a price game if you don't understand all the other factors. You've got to build the value. The value is really in the emotion. The higher the emotion, the less logic that's needed. The lower the emotion, the more logic that's needed. On the flip side, if you don't have enough on that side of the scale in that combination of logic and emotion combined in whatever combination, if that weight doesn't add up to be enough to overcome fear, the fear of making a bad buying decision, the fear of spending resources, money on something that doesn't give the outcome they want, the fear of having the buying experience that we've all had, right? We've all had the buying experience that we regret. And again, some of them are tiny little, I wish I hadn't bought that, I won't buy that again. And some of them are larger ones that really hurt. And if you understand the subconscious, you understand that we are driven much more by fear, by resistance of risk, than we are by desire. The subconscious is saying, hey, remember that time we don't like making bad decisions. We didn't feel good about it. We don't want to do that again. And so we're up against that resistance. As you may know, change is hard. We don't like change. The subconscious is driving these things. And so the subconscious is playing a huge aspect on both sides. Dr. Gerald Zaltman, I believe it was back in the 90s, started doing the research on how the subconscious plays into buying decisions. And he came up with the number 95% of buying decisions are subconscious, not conscious. Now, I don't know about you. The first time I saw that, no, sorry, I don't believe it. I mean, I tell people I'm so logical because I'm very analytical. I make logical decisions. And here's this person saying that, no, not really at all. And so I started to look into that because I just wanted to call BS. And what I found is people argued about the number of 95, but nobody was saying it was less than 50. Nobody was even saying it was close to 50. Most of the research shows that we are driven more by our subconscious in our decision making, especially in purchases, than we are by our conscious. So in sales, we have a bad habit of not paying attention to that aspect of the business. We do in marketing. We look at behavioral patterns and subconscious cues and all of these things in the marketing, which is the funnel to get them down into the sale funnel. And then we get to the sale funnel and we start ignoring all of that. The emotion is the largest part of the sale. If you can find out what it is they're trying to do, why they're trying to do it, what they think that looks like, and what their expectations are, you then can go to that next step down and go, why is that important? Now, is that easy? No, you have to be aligned with your clients. And salespeople have a hard time aligning with their clients. And the difference is what I believe is the most important thing in sales is your intent. If your intent is to help that client get to their ultimate outcome, what they're trying to achieve, and help them figure out exactly what that is, because most don't know exactly what it looks like. That's why they're with you. You're the expert that's going to guide them towards that. If you're doing that, then you align more with the client. The client can feel that. It's very much, again, a subconscious thing that they feel that you're working with them as opposed to trying to persuade them. I mean, think of it. Sales is really toe-to-toe, trying to persuade. It's almost like a tug of war. Whereas consulting, on the other hand, is more like walking side by side towards an ultimate goal. If your goal is first and foremost to make a sale, and their goal is to achieve some particular outcome, you are not aligned. And you need to be aligned going down the same path. So if you get on that same path of focused on what they're trying to accomplish, you'll get better understanding because they're more willing to open up and explain it to you. And then you might even get lucky and find the really deep reasons that are the emotional ones that really make it very easy. And you know you're on the right track because when they start asking you questions that are logic-based and you feel like you're kind of being set up for exactly what you want, oh, I'm glad you asked that question. It usually is a sign that they're leaning towards this. Now they need that justification. That's what logic is. The emotion drives the want and the desire. Okay, now I want this. Now I need the logic to make my reason to make it acceptable. And if I can get both of those, then I can feel more comfortable and overcome the fear and actually take action. If they don't take action, you don't get the sale. And in most sales, they don't have to. They can fall back on complacency. In most things that we sell, products, services, they've got an existing one now, or they've been living without it at all. So their urgency is often not that high. They always have the ability to say, well, I'll just stick with status quo for now, for this week, for this month, for this year. You have to build the front side. You have to build the value. You've probably heard that 100 times. But what they don't go deep enough to say is the value is really in the emotional understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, how they're going to accomplish it, what that looks like, what their expectations should be. And with that build up and then the logic, the features, the advantages, the benefits, the combination outweighs the fear and they take action. So there's a balance in sales. There's a tipping point. And if you understand the tipping point, you'll start recognizing it. As you start recognizing it, you'll get better at it. And as long as you're focused on trying to get the clients to their ultimate outcome, you ironically will get your ultimate outcome also, which is to make the sale. If you're like me and you like to understand the why behind things, for me, the more I understand the why, the more I remember it, the more it sticks with me, the more I recognize it when it's happening. And if you're like that, then I urge you to click down below or find the link for my free why paper, not white paper, why paper, on why become a doctor of sales. The whole idea is behind having the intent that a doctor does. A doctor's intent is only and always to help their patient, either to stop the current issue or prevent a future one. In sales, we unfortunately don't always make sales, and we end up being focused on making the sale. It causes a conflict and it keeps us from getting aligned. And so the why paper goes into that in a fair depth. It gives the science behind it, how I got to this understanding, and why I think it's important that you take the same concept of having an intent that aligns with your clients. So click on that paper or on that link, get that download, and best of luck, because I think you'll find selling like a doctor is way more functional. It sure has been for me.